Hi, welcome back to Learn Payload with Colin. Today we're going to be continuing our series on my first 100 videos and on the topic of global config. In our last video we talked about adding a logo or an uploaded media object as part of our general settings, and general settings is part of our global config. And so we added this logo to our general settings. And so now what I want to quickly, hopefully I'll get this done fairly quickly, but one thing you're gonna be doing quite a bit, and something you should be concerned about as a professional developer, is performance. And right now the way we set everything up in a kind of a bit of a naive way, and this isn't the way I would do it in production. And that is, when we query our global settings, the general settings, we're just accessing it straight from the database with no caching or performance optimizations at all. And so on every single request is going to be a call to the database. And particularly for global items like the header and our site title and subtitle, if it's going to be on every page request, if it's going to be something in your header, your layout, anything like that, you definitely do not want to be hitting the database every single time. And so there are ways built into NextJS for caching your queries and letting NextJS handle that optimization for you. But with that optimization also comes the question of, like, well, how do we, if it's being cached, number one, how long is it being cached? Will it automatically the cache be cleared like every minute or hour, or however? How does that get cleared out? Like, let's say you make a change to your headline. Will the site, the next request, will it grab the latest headline if it's cached? Well, we'll talk all through that on how to work through that in this video. And so where we left off is we've created some components. We have a logo component, which simply fetches the information from general settings through a hook, a use context hook called use settings. Watch the previous video to how to get set up with that. But yeah, I'm using context now within client components to be able to access general settings across my entire website. So in my main provider that's being used in our layout, I'm fetching on the server, doing a fetch to the local API that Payload provides for grabbing global configs. And so you can see here they have a function, Payload has a function called find global, and I'm just passing it the slug that I want access to, in this case general settings. And just a quick recap on that, you can see here for globals, I have a general settings global, and my slug is general settings. I am fetching straight from the local API. I'm grabbing the data, and again, this is happening on every single request. We don't actually want that in production. And so what we're going to do is we're going to create another function that wraps around this that will cache the results of this into a NextJS cache. It's going to be an exported function. Okay, and we'll just call this get cached general settings. Doesn't need to be. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to return a function called unstable cache from next cache. And this takes a callback, and this is what's going to be async. If you want more information on unstable cache, go ahead and check out the NextJS docs, which I'll have in the description. And so now what we want is get general settings. General settings. And that takes a slug as your cache key. So this is what tells Next.js how to cache. What should you be caching in Next.js, and it does it by slug. So, or whatever keyword you have here, you can have anything, but it has another parameter called tag. This is what tells Next.js how to revalidate the cache. So when it comes time to, if you make a change to your admin panel to a general settings within Payload, we need to instruct Next.js that, hey, there's currently something cached. Please go clear that out and go refresh it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another variable here. I'm just going to call it a cache tag. And it's just going to be, in this case, I'll just call it global slug. This is not. And I'm going to export this because coming up, I'll be using it for another reason as well. So cache tag like that. And that should be it. So now what we need to do is go into our provider. We want to change this. Instead of get general settings, we want get cached general settings. And we don't need this anymore. Okay, now, so it still works. The other thing, I need to do some quick house cleaning on the home page, because currently we still have the full raw API data coming here. We want to use that same cached function to get the settings, but to do that, we need that as a client component, and currently this is the homepage is a server-side component. So let's make a quick change just to do some house cleaning here. We need a component we'll just call it hero for now. In the future, this is not going to be how I'm going to be doing the hero, but just for now, just to get this working, we're going to create a new hero. Oops. And this is going to be a use client. And here's where we grab our settings, just like we did for our logo. And then let's just grab this content here. In fact, I think let's just grab all of this. So now we can say like that. Image, and I'm just going to make this /admin. Okay. And now I believe that should be it. So we'll go back to our page, and now we can just say hero. Let's just, yeah. So now we don't need any of this, or this, or this, or this. Okay. All right. And there it is. So the hero is back as a client component, pulling in our settings. So here's the data is now being cached, and I can prove it. So we have the hero, and the settings provider grabs the data through the cache. Just to step through that really quick, we have providers. So we have get cached general settings, and I can show you exactly it is cached. So if I change this a new headline, see, the headline did not change. If I go back to just general settings without doing the cache, there you can see instantly it changed. So, but we want it to be cached. And see, even it remembers the cached version of the headline. So the next step is to add a hook. So in Payload has a series of hooks that you can tap into so that when you make changes to a field, you can do things like clear the cache, or in what NextJS calls revalidation. And so let's do that. Back over into our global settings folder, we have that concept of co-locating that I really like. So we have our config, but we also have queries. And now I'm going to create something called hooks. And I'm going to create a hook called after change hook. And this takes a type, global. This is important that you do this. You got to have this type on it called global after change hook. And it has to be the global after change hook, not just any kind of change hook for any field. It needs to be the global. So this would equal and then we'll just do and this comes with some arguments. And for now, I'm just going to log something out using their logger. So Payload has a logger. And you can just say info. Okay, so now we have this hook, but now we need to wire it up to the config. And you do that over here at the head of the, or within your config, you just type in hooks after change, like that. There we go. Now that's better. So hooks after change, and so now when I make a change, we should see this being logged out. Although, yeah, this was generated by Copilot, sorry. But you get the idea. This was picked up by this function, and when we made a change. So now we're going to just clear the cache using the revalidate tag function that provided by NextJS. And this is not a payload thing, this is just NextJS. Revalidate tag, and this is important. It's important we use revalidate tag because we've set up our caching using tags. And so what we want to do, this is where that variable I'm exporting called cache tag comes into play. So now we have this cache tag, which is used to define the key basically for what's being cached, and that tells NextJS how to clear it. So we have our hook. When you make a change, and then when you run it, it will clear the cache. So should be working now. So let's go back to the front end. So it's still cached. Now when I make a change, it should say yet another headline. Yep, and there we go. So that's what you need to cache your content and to revalidate it when you make changes in your admin panel. Now I wouldn't necessarily cache everything. I mean, just to kind of wrap up really quick, I wouldn't necessarily use that caching for everything. I mean, I guess it doesn't hurt, but it's especially important, and one of the why I'm talking about it in the context of the global config is because usually when you have global config, it usually means it's something that you're going to have on every request, like in a header, like your logo and your title and maybe some metadata, that kind of stuff. It's critical to cache it and then be able to revalidate it when you make changes. So that's it for this one. It was hopefully a quick enough one, but it is very important. And look out for upcoming videos. Get notified. Make sure you subscribe to get notified. And thanks a lot. I really appreciate the feedback that I've been getting from you guys. And so it's been very helpful to help drive the direction of this channel. So we'll see you on the next one. Thanks.